My sister was my surrogate until her husband demanded $50,000 payment the day I went into labor. I got the call at 3 a.m. She's in labor, my brother-in-law David said, but I need to discuss payment before we head to the hospital. My sister Emma was carrying my baby after my hysterectomy at 27 minus a gift she'd insisted on giving with no strings attached. 5 years ago, doctors discovered aggressive tumors that left me with two choices: die young or live without ever carrying a child. My husband Ryan and I mourned for months until Emma offered to be our surrogate, refusing any payment. "You'd do it for me," she said, hugging me. "That's what sisters are for." David seemed supportive too. At our family dinners, he'd place his hand on Emma's growing belly and say, "This is what family means, minus being there when it matters most." What we didn't know was that their marriage was falling apart. David had lost his job 6 months into the pregnancy, and Emma later confessed he'd been gambling again. The night my daughter decided to come into this world, David called with his ultimatum: $50,000 cash, or I am convincing Emma not to sign the birth certificate. His voice was calm, calculating. "You are getting a child worth millions to you? Consider it a bargain?" I woke Ryan in tears. Emma was having contractions while her husband was essentially holding my baby hostage. When we arrived at the hospital, Emma was crying, minus not from contractions, but because David had finally shown his hand. "He threatened to leave me if I didn't ask for money," she sobbed between contractions. "He said he deserved compensation for lending out his wife's body." David stood in the corner, arms crossed. Business is business, family or not. What happened next still feels surreal. My 65-year-old mother, who had quietly entered the room, walked directly to David. At barely 5 feet tall, she looked up at his 6-foot frame and spoke so softly we all leaned in. "My daughter is giving life to her sister's child, and you want to sell that miracle like it's a used car." She opened her purse and pulled out her checkbook. "How much would it cost for you to leave this room and never contact either of my daughters again?" Emma's next contraction broke the standoff. As nurses rushed in, David retreated to the hallway with my mother. 7 hours later, I held my daughter while Emma rested beside us. The birth certificate was signed. David was gone. We later learned my mother had written him a check for $5,000 minus, not as payment for my child, but as she put it, the price of revealing who someone truly is before they could do more damage. Emma moved in with us for 3 months after filing for divorce. She's my daughter's godmother now, and the only payment she's ever accepted is watching her niece call her Auntie Em and reach for her with tiny, perfect hands. Some people think family means obligation. Others think it's a business opportunity. But real family shows up when it matters and stays long after the cameras stop rolling.